Hello, welcome. My name is Steve Hawkins. I'm going to be presenting on Teiid today. As you can see, the tagline here is integrating heterogeneous sources through a relational abstraction, and I'll give you more detail on what that means. So what we're going to see, some intro background material, because this is kind of new to the JBoss world, and you're going to see how Teiid Designer, and the DNA project fit into this world. And then we're going to look at some quick demoing of our Teiid embedded product, or I should say project, showing our Teiid Designer tooling, Eclipse data tools platform, and just a quick demo with Hibernate tools. So where did Teiid come from? The project lineage is from MetaMatrix. People in the data space may be familiar with that company. And that goes all the way back to '99. We were shipping product in about 2000, 2001. So there's a long history here. MetaMatrix was a leader in defining and driving what we call EII, Enterprise Information Integration. And that's where we get the name Teiid. Nice little play on the acronym. So MetaMatrix was acquired by Red Hat back in 2007 as part of the middleware strategy, starting to provide a story there at the data layer. Our last major product release was a 553 in the MetaMatrix line, and that was made available in August of '08. And so then for forward-looking, a platform release based upon the open source Teiid projects is pending. So what does Teiid do? In the data space, we would call this data virtualization. The focus of the core Teiid is on optimized real-time access. And how we accomplish this is that we look like a database. But the planner and optimizer, they're all geared towards data integration, low latency, et cetera. So we're doing things like decomposition of the user-level query into individual pushdown queries for each of the data sources involved. And those data sources may be relational or not. They could be an Oracle instance, a MySQL instance, or text files, web services, and then pretty much anything, because that layer, what we call our connectors, are extensible. You can write your own, you can extend our JDBC integration, et cetera. So at the top, it's just a convenient relational abstraction to all of your data needs. That's available as a JDBC driver. Within us, the way that you do your integration work is just through SQL statements. Just like in a traditional database where you're defining a view, we also have a procedural language that's like PL SQL. We have XQuery integration. You can send us XQueries directly to do data integration. We also have something called an XML document model, which allows you to give us a schema, and then we'll generate XML documents at runtime integrated from all of your sources. Then we also provide a built-in set of connectors for getting information from XML, from LDAP, Salesforce, and a few others. So the current state of the world here in open source is that there are 3 major projects that came in from the MetaMatrix product, and they are DNA. DNA is actually now an independent re-envisioning of an enterprise metadata repository. It basically stands alone. It will have some integration with Teiid, but really it's trying to bring what MetaMatrix was in terms of metadata, some metadata management, into the fore as its own project. So if anybody is interested in doing a lot with metadata, I suggest you check out DNA. Teiid Designer is our Eclipse-based tooling for creating what we call virtual databases. A virtual database is just an artifact that encapsulates all the metadata of how you access your sources, what your views are on top of that, any procedures that you write. It just gives you a nice encapsulated way of saying, here's one, say, application view or enterprise view of all my data. And then Teiid is really the kind of the core project, and it was everything else that was open sourceable from MetaMatrix. And it includes our engine, the embedded runtime. It will include quite a few other components as well. So how we got here is that our open source 6.0 release was initially back in March. That was just kind of a hello world to the open source community. Now we're moving on to 6.1 here, probably by the end of the week, and that's going to really make Teiid Designer really usable in a variety of use cases, and utilizing our Teiid embedded, which looks just like a JDBC driver. Our 6.2 release is going to complete the open sourcing of what was the MetaMatrix technology. So this is going to include a standalone runtime environment we call our server deployment that is scalable, clusterable, provides security management features, just a whole slew of things that aren't available currently in the embedded. And it also has a management console and some initial integration with Chopper. So as you see things that I'm going to show in the demo, to keep in mind, like, where is this headed? You can think of us, we're going to continue to look more like a database, so that when you're interacting with Teiid, you should think of it as at the data layer, direct usage of DDL for defining metadata rather than relying on our own internal mechanisms. You're going to see more features coming out around materialization, data locality, and caching. We do have features currently around caching and materialization, but we're going to make them much more robust, much more what people are looking for in today's Web 2.0 environment. And then you're going to see continued integration with other JBoss projects. We'll show up as a primary source in say, Hibernate integration, in the Developer Studio, et cetera. And you'll see our tooling align more with the Eclipse community. Right now, we just kind of pulled what we had forward, but we want to really insert Teiid as being leaders in data integration and open source. So now we'll just proceed on to demos. And if there's any questions as I go, you feel free to ask. Otherwise, you can just ask me at the end. The demo that we're going to look at is just a really quick thing to give you an idea, just an inkling of what we can do for you. It's based upon a portfolio example that's included in the embedded download. So if you check us out later, you can dig deeper into this. And it's just a simple integration of a Derby database, which I'm running locally, and some data contained in text files. But you can easily see how that could be extended to other data sources, multiple databases, et cetera. So I'm going to switch over here to my Eclipse environment, and I've just dropped in the Teiid Designer set of plugins just into a stock Eclipse install. And what we can see here is we've got a portfolio model project, and it contains a couple of models. We've got something called accounts, market data. In our world, all of this is model driven. We have meta models defining the relational access, SOAP, et cetera. So there's if people are familiar with the Eclipse World XMI files, this should have a degree of familiarity. When I look at the accounts model here, what I can see is that I've got 4 tables coming in. This looks like any kind of database browsing that you might do. I can see my columns, the data type of those columns, some keys. All of these pieces of metadata are fed into the runtime, and we'll see that in just a minute. So by itself, what we have here